Welcome in our radio show, Jazz Meeting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very small station,
Mm-hmm.
but we keep the jazz alive,
Oh,
and we
nice.
support the musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Who's Stanley Clarke?
Who is he now, today?
Yes.
Well, let's see. He's just turned 64, and at the core, I'm basically the same person. It's I love music. I love, in particular, I love the bass, and I'm continually developing things on the bass, and still my quest of I still teach bass, and I like furthering that instrument forward. It's the process of it is nice because it's a kind of I won't say it's an underdog instrument, but kind of
Not really.
not really, but just I'm too jet lagged to come up with a better phrase, But it's an instrument that just traditionally didn't produce a lot of leaders, like trumpet players, and piano players, and so forth. So, but I always knew, and many people that play with bass players know that they're a very interesting breed, a lot of talent, and so that's very cool. I'm a family man, the kids all grown up, I still have some musical things that I want to do, I'm
Still ambitious.
still ambitious musically, and I'm not sure that's ever going to change, I mean, something really have to happen.
So, how happy is Stanley? How happy is Stanley with his life?
Well, happy, it's at this point for me, it's relative. I think in general, I'm happy, but I think as one gets older, their life becomes more complex, and like as a child, your life is to some degree monolithic. It's like if you look at it as subjects, it's one subject. I'm getting older, and as you get older, I think that your life has more subjects. So I actually, a much more interesting way for me to look at it is, what part of my life am I happy with? Aren't I happy with? And that's complex. That's a whole other show.
Yes, it is. When was that moment that you said to yourself, "Well, this is what I want to do with my life"? It's maybe a hard start, but when was that moment? As what kind of age did you have that?
I was 13, 14, very young.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I decided then I was going to do music. And definitely I had no other thoughts. I'm going to do this, I'm going to,
No. So you're very lucky because you knew by that moment and at that age, this is my mission.
Yeah.
So.
Well, actually, they say, I've read somewhere, they say that most, I'm not sure what's true with women, but with men, they say usually between the ages of 13 and 16, a guy decides and knows what he wants to do for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
But because life is so complex, it can be squashed, it can be cut away for this reason or that reason, I know back during the time when we had, we'll say in the United States, man, the Great War, Second World War, a lot of boys decided what they were going to do at 16, but 17 they were running on a field somewhere in Europe with a gun, and so we had that in Vietnam, we have that in the Iraq War, and so forth, but most guys, most people decide. I mean, my son, both of them, very clear. 15, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But whether you do it or not, that's another story.
Yes, of course. Of course, there are there are times that you are very down and think by yourself, where do you find the strength to go on with your profession and with your passion?
Me?
Yes.
I think that you know, what you're talking about is how does one keep his psychology on a level, you know, because you know, where you get your strength from is not necessarily, it can be, you know, I mean, I can look at the bass and I go, yeah, but I mean, there's times I look at the bass and I don't feel good, you know, but for me, you have to, I think it pays to take time to do something, invest in yourself. Some people, they go to church, some people, they can get it from their families, some people will use certain types of religions, study different philosophies. I've studied, you know, many things, Scientology, this, that. It's just something to help you understand things in life. Because the only thing that brings you down...
And get some insight.
Yeah. The only thing that brings me down in life is when I don't understand something in life. If I have full understanding of what I'm doing, no problem. You know.
What means success to you?
Success?
Yes.
Well, happiness is a part of that. You know, it's another kind of question that's there's different types of successes: financial success, personal success. You know, I was, you know, I've always been lucky as a bass player. I think to you know, be able to have my own bands, and travel around and play with other people, or have other people play with me. And so, you know, that handles the financial end. You know, I have a roof over my head, I eat food, you know, it's good, you know. But then there's, what's more important to me is kind of musical success, you know. I like to have little projects, and sometimes I'll work on them for a long time. I just, something like really small doesn't really mean much to most people, but to me it meant something. I was working on this piece that was written for the cello, Bach cello suites, you know. And number one, I always wanted to do it in the key that Bach wrote it in, not there was a lot of transcriptions for bass that are easy. I wanted to do it in the key that he originally wrote it in. It was very difficult. It took me a long time.
Yes, but what does it mean to you?
Well, I got it. I finally did it. It's on YouTube, done very well, and great recording of it. And to me, that was a real achievement for me.
Yes.
Because I remember all the days I practiced, all the, you know, that means a lot to me, you know. Because it's, you know, it's to focus. That's something. That's a difficult thing for some people to have an idea about something, a goal, and focus on it, and actually see it through like an arrow.
Okay, but what important is also to keep your identities. When was that time you said to yourself, this is my identity, I discovered this. Okay, there are a lot of bass players and they are good and I love this and I like that and I want to be as good as the other person. But how do you guard your identity?
You know, I found out something a long time ago. That's an interesting question, guard your identity. I found out actually the opposite. I found out that when I stopped guarding my destiny, when I was in my early 20s, it got better. I think that there's a little trick that's on this planet here, that when a person is free and he's unleashed, his identity is going to come out. I think that so many people, especially in the entertainment business, spend so much time protecting their identity. The people that I know that are really good and free are people that are free. You know, because like you, there's only going to be one you. Nobody else is going to ever be like you, ever. You know, and so because it's subtlety, you know, like how you look, how you smile, how you talk, how I look. It's never going to be somebody like me or like these two guys.
So
it's just the way it is.
The opposite is to be open.
Yeah, be yourself and actually let it out. See, to protect your identity actually doing the opposite of what you should be doing. You just gotta. I like to use the word unleash. You have to unleash yourself. Just hope you're not a criminal. That's the only problem. If you're a mass murderer and you unleash yourself, slight problem for.
Okay, but nowadays there are a lot of musicians, young musicians. What kind of message what can you give them? Because they're so, the competition is very big, and they are having a very hard time.
Very hard for them.
Yes.
See, I had the benefit when I almost have to put it in a story form. I had the benefit back in the late 60s and the 70s because of the nature of technology and the way the record business was. They were very selective. You know, like the record companies that I went to, they didn't record anybody. They'd look at maybe 50 people and go, okay, we're going to record you. But now, because of technology, they're really, the record business as we knew it back then doesn't exist. I mean, the four of us could make a record, spend the rest of the day, and make some tracks. Probably not sound too bad. I know he plays bass and guitar. One of you guys can handle some drums or something. So we make this record, and we could put it out. So you got millions of people around the world that are doing that. The disadvantage for the young people now is because of that empowerment has made, there's so many people making CDs. You know, like I remember in the 70s, a record exec used to tell me, man, I can't listen to all the CDs I get. You know, they just, or records, I mean albums, they used to get in tapes. People used to send cassettes, piles of cassettes. So it's triple, quadruple now. So there's so much content. So it's harder. The competition is stiff. It actually has ceased to be competition. It's something else. I don't know quite what it is, but it's kind of like, it's just people doing things. They're not even necessarily competing because you don't even know the guy. If there's 1,000 people across the water that are doing what you're doing, and you can't even tell unless you go online and search and all that. So it's, you know, it's tough for young people right now. My advice is to, you know, I would sort of forget thinking about making money off of CDs, like making records, and like I'm going to go buy a Rolls Royce and live in a stately mansion in England, you know, off of my CD sales. Maybe you can draw a picture, but that's about it. You know, I would just, you know, the way I see it is the guys that's going to be the best at his craft, whatever that is, whether it's music, whether it's music business, whether it's whatever, doing what you do, you know, it's that person that's the best, or striving to be the best is the one that's going to rise to the top. That's the only way to get distinction in this business now, is to be excellent. And that's the good part about it, because in a way, the fact that everyone can make a record, I actually, in a funny, strange kind of way, like that. You know, because now anybody can make a record. It kind of devalues music, I understand that, and it kind of levels off the idea that, oh, the great Joe Blow, you know, and then there's like 90 other guys that do what he does, or maybe there's 90 guys that do something similar, but seen through the eyes of the public, they may not know that guy's great. I got to tell you a story. I remember one time I was sitting at a Miles Davis concert, and there was a guy sitting next to me, and on the show was Miles Davis, and then Wynton Marsalis opened up. So Wynton plays, he's younger, so he's playing, and then Miles came on, and he had just come out of retirement. And everybody that really knew who Miles was like held on to every little note. It didn't matter what Wynton did or how many notes he played or flipping around the trumpet, whatever. But Miles just goes, everyone goes, oh. But there was this guy next to me who didn't know the history of Miles Davis. And this guy said, oh man, he ain't that good. He said that. And I'm just looking at him and you know what? I didn't get angry at him because I had a major awareness at that point that the world is changing. How people see people, you know, and nowadays, because of, you know, everyone can record, you know, the great Joe Blow, you have to really be good now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you for your precious time.
Yeah.
And I hope you have a good time here at the North Sea Jazz Festival. I wish you luck, love, happiness, and good health.
Okay,
and,
you too.
And keep that mission alive.
Yeah, I thank you for all these years doing what you're doing and keeping it alive and all that. I appreciate that.
Yes, I love it.
Good.
I really love it.